Hey, say something to him, P.
New week, new episode, baby. 126. We in the mix.
Right. You already know it's the Porch Podcast.
You know it. You know it. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Porch Podcast. It's your boy, DJ E, Mr. Influential, and I'm rocking with my brother, man, hand.
Be original, baby. Be original. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back.
Right. Talk to him a little bit, P. You got to talk to him a little bit. Just a little bit.
Hey, man. Like he said, man, we so glad that you was able to find the time to hang out with us, man. And, new week, new episode. Episode number 126. We're going to do it reasons versus excuses this week, man. Reasons versus excuses.
That's it.
Man, E, go ahead, kick it off, man. As you brung it up, well, first off, like we do each and every week, how was your week, man? How was your week since last Tuesday? How's life been treating you?
Yeah, and there I am. I had to make sure everything was right over here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's how. You don't hear no humming noise, none, do you?
I do not. We are loud and clear. Lima Charlie, brother. We good to go. You know what I mean? So how's your week been, man? How you been since last Tuesday, bro?
I was great. Working, like usual.
Which is always a good thing.
Had a gig Saturday. Went to a cookout Sunday. Went to a cookout yesterday. Beautiful events. Wednesday and Thursday is a blur. They don't. But you still went through. I don't even remember what happened, what I was doing. You know what I mean? But it's a blur. And I ain't talking about the blur that played for Rider University. I'm just talking about how fast it went. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Shout out to the blur.
Absolutely. Nah, I mean, once again, man, you just saying how your week went, brother. You know what I mean? Sound like, you was blessed by the best. You here again, so everything must have went the right way.
It did. Yup, it did. How was your week?
Man. It was good, man. Like you, man. I had a couple different, gatherings I was able to attend. As far as the rest of the week, leading up until Friday and Saturday and all of those things.
Right.
It was cool, man. It was cool. I got a little bit of time to, do some extra reading. I read pretty regularly anyway, but do some extra reading.
Yeah, what you reading?
Right now, I'm still tied into Lisa Nichols' book, no matter what. And I depending on certain times, man, I may go back and kind of revisit something I read before. You know how it is when you hear something that ties into that, you want to go back and get clarity. So, a little bit of that, man, digging back into some of the other books and stuff that I was dealing with. But as far as the holiday weekend, it was great.
JK, what up, JK?
Peace to everybody that's here in the live right now. Do us one favor, as we always ask, man. All we ask is that you share it, man. Just please share it so that we can be able to, bring more people to the party, man.
That's it. Because one thing about me and P, and this is going to lead into our title of today's episode, which is, I'm putting it up there again, the Porch Podcast, episode 126, Reasons versus Excuses, right?
Absolutely.
Right? We going to always do this.
Oh,
see, with us, it ain't about $1 million. It's about a vision, about an understanding, just for y'all to come inside our thoughts and our conversations. And we appreciate every time y'all sit here and y'all come have a conversation with us, listen, hear us out, and rock with us. So, what I was explaining and I was talking to P about on yesterday, you know what I mean? I must say, that camera, bitch, look clear than a mug right there today. It's crystal clear today, P. You know what I mean? What you got?
There was a cloth that came with the actual lens.
Yeah, you wiped him down?
I just went on ahead and put it to use.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hadn't used it. It was the first time ever.
I like how you caught yourself and didn't have to pause yourself, because I knew what I meant when I said, did you wipe him down? You said, I just put it to use. You know what I mean? So pause on my end. You know what I mean? On my end.
I see we both decided to keep it clean.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
cleaned the lens, and you cleaned. You was edited on how you did the pause. But go
yeah.
ahead, brother. Go ahead.
So
Say what
let's
you saying.
so reasons versus excuses. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's a difference. Some people don't think it's a difference, but it's a difference.
Right. Right.
An
Absolutely.
excuse is really. Let me tell you. A matter of fact, let's just
We
go
got
ahead
the
and
definition right here. You
go
want it?
ahead and read the definition to him, P.
All right. So
Said he had it right there. Now he
no, it's
got the
right here.
move.
I want to make sure I'm
Okay,
giving you the noun. I
Killer,
like to
what up, Killer? You know
kill
what
it.
I
What's
mean?
good with you, brother? All right. Shout out to Jersey Cat.
Apparel.
The apparel, absolutely. So excuse, man. The act of excusing, obviously dealing with the noun,
Yeah,
explanation of it. Something offered as justification or as grounds for being excused.
right.
An expression of regret for
Yeah,
failure to do something.
right.
A
That's
note of explanation of an absence.
right. hmm So that's what's
So
your excuse, right?
that's
So
the excuse.
that was reasons
So
definition.
reasons, right? All right. The statement is offered in explanation or justification, right?
hmm
A rational ground or motive, the thing that makes some fact intelligible,
hmm
a sufficient ground of explanation or of logical defense,
Right.
something such as a principle of or law that supports a conclusion or
Right.
explains the fact.
Right. So basically, in a nutshell, reasons hold better than an excuse.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So when I
Absolutely.
sat here and I stated that we gonna do this because it ain't no excuses with us. If y'all can
Right.
see, that's why we've been 126 weeks strong. We took 1 week off.
Right.
One.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right. Started in the pandemic and everything. Kept it
Right.
going.
It kept it going. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
No doubt. No
We,
doubt. No doubt.
but an excuse would be something like, again, I use my analogy. Man, I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow, man. I'm just go to the gym tomorrow. I'm gonna get up early and I'm gonna go in. Next day come, you don't go. What happened? Man, I just couldn't get up.
Hmm.
That's an excuse because you up now.
Right.
It's not that you couldn't get up, you didn't get up. It's a
Chose not
difference.
to. That's right. You made a
It's a
decision not to get up. You're
it's a
right. You're
difference.
right.
Now
You're
a
absolutely
reason to
right.
be like, yo, I'm out to work out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And a person say, well, I ain't seen you in the gym in all week. Man, sprained my ankle. Doctor told me to rest my ankle because I can't, and I could do some exercise, but I can't go in and work out the way I want to work out. So I'm still working out at the house. You know what I mean? I'm still,
Absolutely.
doing, but I just ain't been to the gym. Still exercising, still in purpose, still doing everything they wanted to do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
the question was, why didn't you come to the gym?
Exactly.
You know
No,
what I
no, no. You
mean?
got to be specific. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it's crazy because excuse, the synonym for excuse is justification and reason, which is why I understand. This is why I understand why people can get them confused.
It's because
This
it says justification and reason.
right. So that's a synonym to it. A
Right.
similarity in a sense. I think that, like you said, though, the objective is to understand where the difference is. We know that there's some
Right.
similarities, right? We
Right.
do understand that there's some justification that takes place for both of them, and both of them are offered, as some kind of response to something.
Right.
But like you're saying, if a person turns around and says, "Yo, I'm making a commitment," because that's really what it's usually attached to. I'm
Right.
making a commitment. It's the action that comes afterward that determines whether or not it's an excuse or an explanation. I mean, or a reason.
Well, they're both a justification. But if you look, one says a more rational or something like that, and the other one says one make you look like a poop butt, and the other one look like, oh, all right,
Yeah, because
that's real. You see, you
one of them is
understand what I'm
like I
saying?
said, yeah, because it say one of them is something offered as a justification or as grounds for being excused.
Right.
That's excuse.
Yeah.
The other one is reason, a state offered an explanation or justification. So see, there it is. When you start seeing stuff like or and all those other things, that means it becomes a situation where it's subjective,
Right.
right? Because
Uh-huh.
what may be an excuse in one circumstance may be a reason, for
Right.
someone else.
Right.
Like you said, that same person that didn't get up and go to the gym, he may have said that he was going to do that but he turned around and worked the third shift for overtime. Didn't get off of work to 6 something in the morning. So in
Right.
theory, he
That's
has
really
a
his. That's
justifiable
really
reason
his
why.
reason. That's
Exactly,
really
he has
his
a
reason.
justifiable- That's not
But
an excuse.
but what
You know what I
but
mean?
if he would have said, yeah, man, I ain't get up until 6. I had planned on getting up to 6,
Right.
so I had to get rest. But if he man, look, I'm taking it down 9:30. You know what I mean? 9:30. I'm gonna be up by 5. That's 7.5.
You're
That's
right.
7.5. And then 5 o'clock come in. Shit.
Yeah.
And then you see him at 7:30. What's up, man? Why you ain't come to the gym? Just couldn't get up, man.
Live.
That's an
Live.
excuse, man.
Definitely. Nah, it definitely is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, right, we'll jump right into it because everybody gonna have their own opinion about it.
Right.
Last night's Easter Conference Finals came to a conclusion.
Yes.
It was heavily favored from what I saw on it. Actually the Heat were underdogs. I think Boston might have been favored. 7.5 points when
Right.
I up until the point where I saw it. But I'm quite sure that people have their own different explanations of what took place last night, or their own reasons or excuses on why one thing
I
happened versus
missed
the other.
that. You said they was favored 7.5.
That's what came up earlier in the day. Earlier in the day,
I definitely would have took Miami. I'd have been all in on Miami with 7.5
right. I
because
mean,
even if Boston would have won, they wouldn't have beat by.
yeah, I don't think they would have covered it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Absolutely. Not that we're telling you guys to go ahead and check DraftKings because they sponsor any or FanDuel, but hey, it is what it is. But anyway, a person can look at that game last night and they can say Boston lost because Tatum got hurt first play of the game. I think that when people look for excuses, they're trying to find, like they say in the actual explanation. I mean the definition, some sort of justification that helps them sleep at night.
Right.
But the grand scheme of all of it is that when you start to make excuses, in my opinion, you rob something of something else. Like when you start to make excuses, like for the person that turns around, like you said, bro, and said they was gonna get up and go to the gym, they was gonna jump up 6 o'clock in the morning,
Get up, go on in. You
get
don't
up and
go.
go in, but you don't see them. But then 7 o'clock, all of a sudden you see them. They at McDonald's getting their coffee and their steak, egg, and cheese bagel or whatever. Says, oh, okay, you had enough, energy to get up and go to McDonald's.
Gotta
You
eat,
couldn't
man.
get to the gym.
That's what
Right.
they're gonna tell you. Gotta eat.
Gotta eat, right? I'm on my way to the gym now. Okay, it is what it is. So to me, that's more of a situation where you just making decisions based on what you rather do.
Right.
I don't think that is fair for the people who do assume, and everybody got their own opinion, that because Tatum got hurt the first play of the game last night, that was the reason why they lost. I mean, they lost by 19, 20 points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
He had 14.
right, he contributed.
Yeah.
And now here's the thing. His reason, right, or his excuse, wherever you want to say, his excuse for not performing at the level he usually does was because of his injury.
Yeah.
We can say that, right? We say
Yeah,
to
that's-
assume that.
Yeah, it's more of a reason.
You can even say that, even a reason. Okay, so once again, a reason is a statement offered in an explanation or justification, right? All right, the rational ground or motive. We
Right.
can say that he didn't
That's
play
rational.
well.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't play well because of the fact that his ankle was messed up.
Yeah.
But does that excuse Boston, the rest of the
No.
team, for not
No, it
performing
doesn't.
well?
No, it doesn't.
So
Embiid didn't play game 1 against them.
correct.
And Harden dropped 45.
Correct. So I think we all go back and forth with reasons and explanations. I mean excuses. I keep wanting to say explanations because it's part of the actual definition. But I think we all go back with a little bit of tug of war sometime with reason and excuses. 'Cause I
Well,
think
here's
all of us
something.
do both.
Here's something I've been asking people all week, you know what I mean, off and on when I've been running to them and shit. And I want to ask you this live on the air.
Okay.
And maybe you can find the excuse or the reason why. Okay? I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But why they don't make chicken buckets no more? Why you don't ever see buckets of chicken no more, bro? I'm dead serious. I've been asking people that shit all week. I said everybody, I said I'm gonna ask P, but I'm not gonna ask P till we live on online.
Yeah.
Why chicken don't come in buckets no more?
Well, I think it's a situation where jokers just, for marketing purposes, man, they don't see it that way no more. They offering as meals now. You can get a 3-piece meal for da. Like they was calling it before the family bucket and all that other stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like I think it's different. I think a lot of times, man, things change up when the diets and what they want to promote certain things. They don't want certain things to come out. You
I'm
know what I
I'm
mean?
I'm,
So
I'm googling why chicken don't come in buckets no more, man.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's no rhyme or reason behind it. I just think that from a marketing perspective, they just don't do it.
Right.
You know, because I mean, like the people that still going out there buying 12 pieces and 11 pieces, whatever it is, they still buying it.
Yeah.
They
Everybody
still
started
buying
laughing. I mean, hey, listen. I said, why chicken don't come in buckets and it finished anymore before for me.
Yeah, yeah. Once again, I think they're just calling it something different at this point, man. The same. It just is what it is on that.
They say KFC still got buckets, man. I don't eat it, so I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Okay, bro. You said because they can get it. They can get a $2 wing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
dang.
JK. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, $2 wing.
AKA
Right.
the killer says spending too much money on steroids. Chicken's fat as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen some shit today, y'all. I'm telling y'all, killer crazy. Tell y'all some shit today, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
They took whole pigeons and was putting them on the grill
Right.
and flipping them and chopping them up and scaling them and shit. I'm like, it fucked me up about bird with, because it started a dead pigeon, a real pigeon. They just picked him up off the ground. 3 of them
Mm-hmm.
flipping him, smoked him out, everything, man. Got him all good and shaved it all.
Flipped him and smoked him out.
Yeah. The pigeons.
What are we talking about, man?
Pigeons, man. Pause. P. I'm talking about pigeons, man. They cooking bird, man. Come on, man. Clap it up because P wants to be jokey the fuck
That's
Smurf today.
that's the real definition of dirty bird for real, right?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Hey, look, man,
Anybody else that might have seen the pigeon cook video, I seen it earlier, man. They was cooking pigeons and shit. Whole pigeons.
So
Dirty as hell.
So I asked you a question, right? And I'm presenting on the show, like you said. Me and you already had this conversation. We were talking about reasons and excuses, right? When you presented it, you was like, "Yo, I think that's one of the ones we need to chop up." I'm like, "Cool." I was working on one too. Duties, right?
Yeah.
Duties in the sense of, since we're talking about reasons and excuses, duties, man. I'm talking about kids, women, men, husband, wife, because everybody who a man ain't a husband and everybody who a woman ain't a wife. And
Right.
without
Right.
dealing with
Right.
anything else political, we're going to leave it at that. But I believe that every household has a different expectation of how it runs. Every household within, in my opinion, have a different set of reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in those reasons, there's going to be a set of excuses.
Right.
So, I've been thinking about it, just pondering over it, man. And I know I ain't the only parent that ever sat there and considered this situation. Sometimes I think that we made it too easy, too fast, and there was some steps that was missed along the way.
For us, you
Sometimes
talking
I
about for
think,
us with raising our kids?
yeah, yeah. I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for the household that I occupy. And I'm not saying that that doesn't make them bad. That doesn't make them, unappreciative. I just think that sometimes while we're working on trying to give them the best, we may miss some things that really that they need to continue to move forward.
Like earning. Like
Right.
it's certain things that I get where you're going with it. Us as
Absolutely.
parents, I mean us
Absolutely.
as kids, we had to earn.
Absolutely.
But because of the world we live in with social media and all that type of stuff, and everything's visual. Everything's
Right.
a movie, everything's a show.
Everything.
So you want a peace EQ, you want to be able to
Peace, EQ.
your kid to be a better version of you. So
Absolutely.
let's say you was a person that wore designer and everything.
Or the
You
best
want-
version of themselves.
Right. But you absolutely.
But I see what you're saying.
But let's say you were a designer and everything. So you turn around, you like, I want my kids to wear Alexander McQueen. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want my kids to wear Gucci or whatever. If you one of these people that did that, now it's just normal to them. Cause see, what we show in the house to our children is
Mm-hmm.
normal to them. So when they see a child that has without, that's why a lot of times, even in our day, they was quick to crack on that person who had nothing, not
Right.
understanding that they really just didn't have nothing.
I mean, nothing, bruh.
You see what I'm saying? But we look at his jeans, bitch. They dirty as hell. Like that's how he was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the only jeans he had. You
See
see
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying?
saying?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
at the end of the day, it's about earning. It's all about earning, and we just look. I got it. My kids got it, and that's not a wrong mentality. I'm just using that for an example.
Absolutely.
But we just have to come up because bro, human beings are the most creative creatures in the world.
Absolutely.
All right, point blank, period. So you just have to. It's not that you made it too easy. You bless your kids with what you wanted to bless them with, but you still just have to do it a different way. It's just like at this point, not just being a parent, you're a teacher. So
Right.
when we went to school and teachers had to teach classes, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
reason why I could learn from Mr. Cooley, but probably couldn't learn from Mr. Salyards, and those was really my Algebra 2 teachers, is because I wasn't a fan of Mr. Salyards' lesson plan. But Mr. Cooley's lesson plan worked for me. So, and he still gave me everything I needed. So even with us giving our kids and children, it's not that I don't think you made it too easy. I think you just have to have a different approach on what you're still trying to show them. But I don't think you made it too easy because you were
I
blessed.
agree.
What parent ain't blessed that don't want to, like, come on. We didn't struggle like that when we came up. Let's keep it real. We are,
Absolutely
everybody do
not.
that.
Absolutely
We
not.
talk about it all the time. We blessed. If I ever had to go through it again, I want the same parents, same household, same everything. I was good, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, nobody wants their kids to struggle, and that's not what you're saying at
Right.
all. But what
Right.
you're saying is certain things came easier to them, like more than it came easy for us.
Yeah.
But we still have to show them the duties in a different way. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
Because, for example, and this is not us, but let's just say we had our children running around wearing designer. Like, okay, you got designer, but let me show you how you keep this designer. You still got to clean it because cleanliness is next to what? Godliness at the end of the
Yeah.
day. So you
Right.
still want to look like, because you could just still be bullshit with all that good shit. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, you're
It's just
absolutely
how it
right.
is.
Nah, I agree with you, and like I said, I think sometimes I go back and forth with it because I understand that our time, as far as being kids, that was years ago. You know what I mean? Different blueprint, different situation. I think the love is always the same from every parent, though. I think it's a constant. You know what I mean? Everybody want their children to have the best quality of life. Period. But I think sometimes, like you said, when they don't earn it, it's a little bit different. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
it's like hard. It's hard to maintain what you don't earn.
Right.
Like it's very hard. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're accustomed to just having it, and you know that those who are out there providing it for you, it's a standard that they already created, so they're not gonna let you lack. Sometimes they can go in the right direction, sometimes not. And even in a situation of appreciation, it comes down to, like you said, how do you maintain it, right? Like if I'm gonna take the time to, let's just say, like you said, sticking with the designer clothes element or anything that they're wearing. Like if I gotta buy it and you can't at least maintain, keeping it clean, keeping it put up, making sure it's put away, keeping the area, whatever. I'm not speaking to no specific kind of thing like that. But what I'm just saying is as time goes on, I think sometimes we kind of look and say, all right, what we did for them when they was 10 years old, 11, 13 years old, as they start to approach, higher levels of independency, it's too late to go back and talk about some of those things you should have introduced when they was 8, when they 18.
Right.
It's not impossible to do, but you understand what I'm saying? Because now the introduction of it is not from a situation of this is a routine that you need to kind of digest and get, into your system. Now it's like, yo, you need to learn this real quick because it's a situation of survival. And they're trying to figure out how the last 10 years,
Yeah.
I didn't need to even
Well,
think about that.
I think what it is, and I think what the approach would be different is with more so about it. We just had episode last week. We had vibrations. right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
125. That's right.
right, so it's trying to learn and understand and follow the vibes, right, and stay positive with the situation. Instead of learning, see, I think what we were taught wrong is we were just taught about you need money, you need money. If you want to do
Hmm.
this, you got to give me. Okay, you want a video game, clean up your room, I give you an allowance. But what we should have been really, really being taught was about needs and necessities, about resources, about understanding. Because at the end of the day, we take so many things that we've always kept.
Right.
That's a resource. We take it for granted. Perfect
Yep.
example: the guy that may talk about that didn't have the fresh clothes or the dirty clothes and had all that type of on. At his house, and this no pun intended, his water might have got shut off. See what I'm saying? So we sitting there talking about we want a new video game, and he want to do that too as a kid, but really he just want to be able to wash his hands. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? Whereas in all actuality, because we grew up in a house where none of that was ever a problem,
Right.
we took that type of stuff for granted. So
Right.
if people understand the top resources is what's needed in the world, and you teach them on how to obtain them and
Hmm.
keep them, then regardless what you give your children, because that's my mind frame. What you get your children, they'll know better. But the question is, when do you introduce this? Because
Correct.
you don't want to introduce it to them when they 5, because it's not something they should be thinking about or worrying about.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
See, I just talked to somebody and they was just saying about kids. Kids learn how to speak at a young age, but they don't learn how to communicate.
That's true.
And when you really sit and think about it, you like, damn.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they don't know how to communicate their feelings, their thoughts, and anything.
Yeah.
They
I
don't.
agree.
You see what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
absolutely agree. Yeah,
So really, what I'm saying is, the earlier we can teach them the importance of necessities versus passion, want, and also uh and needs. You know what I mean? Well, that's a necessity, but I mean, and instead of needs and wants, passion and is something that you're gonna feel. That's a vibe. Like that's the whole vibration thing that I talk about.
right.
But you still have to be able to focus on yourself. Like I talk about, like we talk about my niece all the time. We already know what she's passionate about. That's what she gonna do because she done told us her whole life.
Right. Yeah, you're right. No, and
That
that's what I'm
mentality
saying.
ain't gonna,
Like
and she's been consistent, just like the Porch Podcast.
exactly. Like, but even with that situation, right? Just using it for an example,
Right,
and you made a great point. But there's also a way that you do, it. Like you said earlier, we're teachers, right? We're
right,
teachers, and we don't all we don't all claim the teacher role as parents.
right,
Sometimes we're so busy just trying to provide that we miss the teaching piece, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, right?
right.
So like you
Exactly what
said, like
exactly what you're
so,
talking
so
about. Yeah,
so like the thing about being the 5-year-old, right? Like you said, when I teach a 5-year-old the same thing I'm teaching a 15-year-old, not in the same way.
right.
It's not that I won't teach
Different
them
lesson
anything,
plan.
not the
Right.
same way, right? But
Mm-hmm.
this is why I say when you skip certain parts, when the kid is 18 and it was pieces you should have taught when they was 8, when you try to teach them at 18. Now imagine learning in your
Everything.
senior year,
Mm-hmm.
what you're supposed to be getting in your third grade year
Right.
or your fourth grade year. So even using that, right? Now it becomes a situation of, well, everything is read off of body language. Like you said, a child learns how to speak very young, but they don't learn how to communicate.
Communicate. Right.
But here's the difference. They do. They watch your body language. They're communicating. They do certain things. A baby will cry when it wants something to eat, something to drink, when it's wet, needs to be changed. Before it can formulate words, it knows how to get a response.
Yeah.
So it's just like when you look at certain things, right? It's not like I got a lesson plan on being a father. It's not like you
Right.
got a lesson plan on being a father. So as we're providing, which is what we were groomed to do,
Right.
sometimes we don't follow the lesson plan. And then ultimately what happens later on, we look up and now it's like, wow, I still got to talk to you about this. How many times have you ever
Right.
said, I still got to talk to you about this? And they looking at you like,
But
yeah,
in the context of communicating, what they were saying, what the person was saying is, I guess, if you were in the conversation, like not positive communication, but more effective communication. Like you know how we might want to get our point across when we're going to talk to somebody else as adults, and we say, "All right, before I go in here, I got to make sure I relax, really listen to them and think, and make sure I articulate myself in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody, when you speak, you do communicate. You understand what I'm saying? Like you said, when a baby's crying, we know something's wrong. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But when a baby gets older, they may come in and say, Mom and Dad, what time we eating dinner? I'm a little hungry. See what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's a more
Mm-hmm.
effective communication. Now you know exactly what's going on. You see what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
right. But before we go any deeper to that, and I'm going
Absolutely.
to tell people this right here. If
Absolutely.
you got an event coming up, I don't care what type it is, and you don't know where to start, I got somebody for you. Pay attention.
Listen, whether it's your first or your 50th birthday, that 25 years of service, if not more, retirement party, or the day that you and the love of your life share vows to become one, let Front and Center Events take care of all of your event planning needs. Sit back, put your feet up, and enjoy the show, where they truly keep you at the front and center of it all. Make sure to check out their Facebook and Instagram pages at FNC Events. Head on over today and get that party booked. Back to the show. Absolutely.
Front
Front and
center
center,
event.
front and center events. But yeah, so that was on the kids' side, right? And then, also was bringing up some things. Like I said, I think that, there is a element of responsibility that goes into every household. Some households aren't built the same. You got some single parent households, you got some, you know, multi-parent households. Um, we're talking about reasons and excuses.
Right.
We're talking about how close they are, but how different they are at the same time.
Right.
I think the older we get, it's just my our reasons and excuses start to change because, like you even talk about that old uncle that just speaks his mind,
Yeah, I ain't got no excuse. The
or
reason
that
is, bitch,
old.
I ain't want to do it.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you may not like it.
Yeah. But but here's the thing. That's more rational
Yeah,
than
yeah,
you coming in. You ever hear to say, man, you got more excuses than they going to jail. You heard people say that before.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because they're trying to buy themselves time or get their way out of the situation. Right? But when you say, yeah, why didn't you go? Just wasn't interested in that, man. You know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 And I
I'd rather sat home and watch the game. That's what I wanted to do with my time. That's the reason. It's not an excuse. But
yeah,
you said you had to be there. No, I didn't have to be anywhere but where I wanted to be.
exactly,
But like I
exactly.
said, another thing, I use another example. When a
Hmm.
person might say, hey, E, why ain't come to my party, man? Oh, nah, bro, I really wanted to come, but I had a gig that day at the same exact time. Oh, all right, yeah, you can't. That's the reason. You can't be two places one time. I ain't gonna stop your money. But somebody say, hey, E, why you ain't come to the party? Cause, man, I ain't know what time it started. You told me, I knew it was that day, but you ain't tell me what time. Bro, you could have called me and asked me what time it started. You really ain't want to come.
Yeah, I think the power words, all right, that I think is really, really. And speaking of power, we're gonna definitely get into that. But the
Yeah,
power words in those both of those definitions for those two words is justification and explanation.
right,
See, those words are so much bigger, not just in terms of letters, but they seem so much more impactful when you use it, right?
right.
So when you turn around and you tell a person, okay, I was late. My justification for that is that I didn't have a way to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, that may not be justifiable in your eyes, but I'm justifying it based on what actually took place.
Nah, I know what the
It's not
person.
about it. So that's not an excuse. It really happened. Now,
Right,
at the job, it may be inexcusable
right.
based on whatever. So I think that they play so close to each other. So I definitely can see how people can mix them up.
Oh, I
But
know how they mix them up.
justification and explanation, I think, are the key words in both of those things.
And I agree with you saying that the job it may be inexcusable, especially working in supervision. But I'm also say this:
Hmm.
sometimes at work things ain't ain't even that serious. They'll make it like that because we know a lot of times that jobs are biased. They look for a reason to get certain people in trouble because just a statement they might have said or they might not like something they do because it's still a lot of it comes with
Mm,
envy. You know what I mean?
mm.
And
That's
and
when they
things.
use that reason against you. They
Right,
flip a reason or
right.
create a reason.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's why at the end of the game, especially when you work for the government, you have what they call a union. If you're in a union, it's good,
Right.
as you know, bro. Using union, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's good to know your contract because
Very
you
good.
know how to apply the law. Because really, it's just a law that they want you to follow for working there.
Mm-hmm.
Everything doesn't mean need a street mentality. Everything doesn't mean need a slick mentality. I said what I said. That's something a woman would say.
Mm-hmm.
The dude might say, "Nah, man, like y'all trying to play a bitch, man. Like I told you, man. Like my car was broke down. Like y'all don't get. That's what I'm saying. Y'all don't even care. Now you
Yeah.
breaking more rules because you going harder and harder and harder.
Yeah. When he talks like that, he's really aggravated.
Right?
That's really, that's the problem. Yeah, and it's crazy
Yeah.
because every union too, local, not only do they have a contract, but each one of
Yeah.
them have bylaws.
Right.
Literally, it's called bylaws.
Bylaws.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
So you
yeah.
got to know how to understand and follow. Because honestly, your union contract ain't nothing but rules to the game.
That's all it is.
They're rules to the game.
To keep it, it's all right. So without making this a long drawn out thing, whenever somebody works with somebody else, you got
Right.
to have some ground rules. You
Right.
got to have some ground rules so that in the event that something needs to be challenged, these are the stipulations, these are the rules, this is the infraction, whatever, whatever. Everywhere, everything is like that, in life and everywhere else. But I agree with you totally, man. There are some things that's inexcusable. Once again, I think that the reason why they're viewed that way is how you use them.
Right.
I think a lot of people use the term, and I
Yep.
think that when they do it, they use it too freely, and they probably using it at times where it's not the one that they should be. And
Right.
I think the minute that you actually kind of come to grips with, like, yo, this is my reason.
Yeah.
Either you're gonna stick with it and deal with however it plays out, or if it ain't right, you're gonna do
Now,
what you need to do to make it right.
here's what I really wanted to get to and why I wanted to do reasons versus excuses.
Okay.
Because every time you are applying yourself to make something happen,
Right.
right,
Right.
you have to have a reason why.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever stopped you from it,
That's right.
usually is your excuse.
That's right.
Because you broke your own commitment. That's in a situation where they defer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because your reason will keep you committed.
Right. Okay.
But your excuse may take you off track. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's anything. That's where discipline is the trump right there. It's the king right there. But you understand what I'm saying? Like reasons and excuses in that situation is the
Right.
angel and the devil sitting on your shoulder. In that type of situation. Like,
Right.
bro, everything you do as a motivational speaker, what's your reason?
There's got to be a reason behind what I'm doing. Everything.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's present. It varies. You know what I'm
And
saying?
if you've been, not only, we don't talk about this enough, we gonna clap it up. But not only if we're 126 episodes in and we've been very consistent, took 1 week off, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How many motivational Mondays in a row are you in?
You know what? I don't even know. I got to
See-
count them because you know what? It just became an exercise, bro. It became
Right.
something.
This is what I'm saying. Now,
Yeah.
you have now if you don't do one next week, I'm like, bruh,
You all right?
why you ain't do motivational Monday?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because your reason is for you to motivate. You doing it to motivate people.
Absolutely.
But if you just stop doing it,
myself first and foremost.
right, what would be the excuse? But that goes with passion and following the vibes.
I agree.
See what I'm saying? All of it ties in.
Yeah.
What does it say? Namaste. That's what namaste. Whatever you say. A divine oneness. That's what that is.
Yep.
So when you start to come into that divine oneness and also really be self-aware of what turns you off or what turns you on, you be most effective. Because here's the thing. First of all, they can't. You never really see fish leaving the water because they know they'll die.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they can feel that. Or
Absolutely.
you ever see animals going crazy trying to warn you because they vibe is telling them, hey, yo, it's some bullshit around the corner. Let's go this way.
Mhm.
Because they be smelling it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Why we always was cool with Petey.
Right. That just...
Let's keep it real.
But it's about having that divine oneness and that understanding. That's what all these episodes and everything about the Porch is about. Sometimes people might say he gets too silly sometimes, he get too deep sometimes, but what that does, that creates balance. I'm a funny, deep dude. Just put it to you like that.
Yeah, nah, I mean, once again, bro, you came up with with the topic. It
Yeah,
was you that spearheaded the concept of reasons versus excuses. You went nowhere laughing. You was living life and just came across that in your mind was like, oh, that sounds like a great conversation.
right,
But I just really think that the two terms are used quite a bit
right. And
in the
they're in
wrong
the
capacity. You
wrong
know what I mean?
capacity. Yes, they're using the wrong capacity. They can be
Absolutely.
misunderstood, but that just came to me right now.
Hmm.
When you're trying to push for something, your
Hmm.
reason for doing it
Hmm.
is going to keep you committed. But your excuse for not, I look at it as an excuse for not. It could be a reason why you're not doing it too, depending on what it is. Let's keep
Hmm.
100.
Hmm.
But when you commit yourself to it and then you have this strict discipline of doing it, then you're going to do it. And most of these people who stay on that committed train and follow their reason, like you're
Hmm.
doing with Motivational Monday,
Hmm.
like we're doing with the Porch podcast, they
Absolutely.
become successful.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that so we'll switch up real quick. Like you said, it's still
Yeah,
in
yeah, no,
concept
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
in
we're gonna
in the
go to
spirit.
power.
Got to talk about power, man. For those who
Yeah,
didn't see it yet, you know what I mean? Why?
yeah. What's your
What's your reason?
excuse? What's your
What's your excuse
excuse? It's this shit.
for not
Shit.
seeing it
Let's
yet?
let's be honest. I ain't see the leak, but the leak been out
They
for
might,
for
they might,
for for
yeah,
a
they
few
might have a
weeks.
legitimate reason. They might, maybe like this cable wasn't on. Maybe they ain't have access to the show. Anything, you know what I mean? They may have
P.
a legitimate reason.
If they got access to the Porch podcast right now, they got access to power. It was leaked
Maybe,
all over the internet, man. You on the internet,
maybe,
P.
hey man, maybe. Hey,
They got
all I'm
access.
gonna say is this. All I'm gonna say is this, man. You know what I mean? I don't know if Eve's trying to insinuate maybe you should try to steal it or what they talking about, or whatever. I
No,
don't know what
no,
Eve's
no,
talking about.
no, no, no. What I'm saying is they can get it. Nah, it was what I'm
All right,
saying is as long as you got the internet, you got access.
all right. So, okay. So diving into the finale of the situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whole lot of things transpired in it.
Yeah.
Once again, a lot of reasons, a lot of excuses for why certain things went the way it did. Um, I'm hyped to see the next season.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna front. I'm hyped to see the next season. I wonder why, or what was the reason that the writers,
JK said
I
niggas
hear you,
got
JK.
cable. Yeah.
I want to know the reason why the writers write it the way that they do, and the reason why, if Ghost doesn't come back, let me just take it right there. Why he doesn't?
Well, it was two things that he was insinuating. They people believe he was insinuating in that interview that's been floating, saying that you know he he was offered to come back. You know what I mean? But it had to be if this happened. And one part of it was like it has to be the perfect scenario. He don't want to come back on some winky dink ink bullshit. Like, you know,
Mm.
they looked behind the tree and there was a ghost. Like, nah, they don't want it. They don't want it like that. You know what I mean? Some bullshit like that. Yeah, clap it up for that bullshit. Then the other thing was the money. I'm not saying that we don't know the numbers, so we're not even gonna get into the money side. But we're just gonna stay on the art side of it.
I
You know what I
like that.
mean? We're gonna
Yeah,
stay on the art side of it.
absolutely.
Um, I've often said, in my opinion, we've watched 3 seasons of it, and he hasn't showed his face. You don't necessarily need him there. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You don't need him there. Now, to follow up what you saying, Camille, you never believed Ghost was dead. I said something to my brother yesterday, and thank you for tuning in, dear. That's my Libra. That's my Libra buddy right there. One day apart.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome, sis.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So every big death in the power universe
you. Okay, come on, E. Come on, E.
has always showed a scene of the body in the
A lot of,
morgue.
lot of theatrical pauses. E. Go ahead.
They've always showed a scene of the body in the morgue, except
Okay.
for James St. Patrick.
Okay.
He's the only person
That's right.
that was a big death, like
That's it.
that meant something to people.
Right. Right.
That's right, JK. I forgot you a Libra too, brother. That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
But that's
Okay.
the only that's the only big death that didn't show a scene in the morgue. They
Okay.
showed Kanan when 50 died.
So did.
They showed Angela when she died.
Mm-hmm.
They just showed Sax when he died.
That's right.
They showed anybody big like that.
That's why I asked you about Proctor. Did they show Proctor? You said
I
yeah. They
I
showed
believe they
Proctor.
showed Proctor. I know they
Okay.
showed Crystal Ball. What was his name? Wasn't his name Crystal? The cop, the one that was working for Lobos.
Yep.
They
Yep.
show him. Remember, he got his
Yep.
throat slit.
Yep. Keisha.
Keisha.
Yep.
Did they show Keisha in the morgue?
Uh-huh.
I don't know, but
Touching
we
la
knew
la, man.
But Keisha was,
Keisha's out of there. Keisha was out of
but
there.
Keisha was dead on the ground.
Yeah, and they
See what
wasn't
I'm
bringing.
saying?
It wasn't.
With Ghost, you seen him hit the ground. His eyes looked like he did, and next thing you know, you seen the ambulance.
JK, I believe you, man. Ghost around, man.
You know what
I
I
believe
mean?
it, bro. I believe it too, brother. I believe it too. I'm gonna say this, from the art perspective, and I agree with him. You know what I mean? He's basically saying that it has to be done, and it has to be fitting of a person of that magnitude. Like
Right.
Ghost wasn't no, what you want to call him, BC level guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't no guy in the background to the background
He
dude.
was the star of the show.
Right.
He's the franchise leading actor.
That's what I'm saying. You know what
The
I mean?
whole franchise. Let's think about the whole Power franchise. He's
Absolutely.
the leading actor.
No question. No question.
That's why in all these other shows that's at current time, and even in Raising Kanan,
Yeah.
people are waiting for Ghost and Tommy to show up.
They need them back. That's what I'm saying. I mean, to the point where it's just like, it don't even have to be rational for some people.
Here's my theory, though. I think where everybody keeps messing up at, and they keep really messing up at, is that everybody keeps believing that when he returns,
Right.
he's going to return on Ghost Power Book 2. I believe if returns, he shows up on Force. He gonna go find Tommy first.
Well, let me add this to it.
That's nobody ever talks about that. You know why? Because the second season hasn't started yet. Everybody keeps saying he gonna be there to save Tariq. He gonna be there to save Tariq. That's all they keep saying.
So let me add this to it too, right? And
Right.
and then you pick back up, and then you put your spin move on it. All right.
I'm gonna go right back to it because if you don't say what I think you about to say, I'm listening.
All right. No problem.
Right.
Here's my thing. Tommy said something again in this last one that we already knew, and
Right.
he keeps saying it. We told Tariq this ain't my war. This ain't my beef. You know what I mean? Don't forget, I'm already dead in New York.
Right.
Well, if he's dead in New York, but he's really alive,
James St. Patrick is dead in New
why
York.
can't Ghost be dead in New York but really be alive?
Right.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, that would give them both an out of the city. Things was crazy.
Here's another thing that nobody is talking about in that interview. The one where he was talking about it would have to be this. It would have to be this and this, right? When he also talked about when they were talking about killing him on the show that he didn't think it should end. It should have ended that way. He was talking about basically like being out, but because Tommy was in trouble,
I like that, Miss Porter. I like
right?
that. Yeah.
But listen, what I'm saying, because Tommy was in trouble, he had to go back in to save Tommy. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So everybody keeps looking at the fact of Tariq because that's his son. Doesn't mean he's never going to help him, right? But I keep thinking the first time we see this man appear back in the Power universe, it's going to be on Force. It's going to be so wide left that y'all not going to expect it. Like, oh shit! Because what's going to happen? Tommy's going to start seeing certain traits. I'm telling you, this is how you do it. Of only G would have did that. Because that's what he called him. I know how my brother move. Nobody knew Ghost better than Tommy.
Nah, nobody.
So when you putting clues in, that's what it is. I just used this perfect example. and it ties in. I said sometimes people often miss the art side because we stand with the art side, right?
Absolutely.
Let's look.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
look at Insecure, right?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest love affair. What was the biggest love affair on Insecure? Most people won't see it the way I see it, but
Just go ahead and break it down.
Issa Rae and Molly were really the biggest love affair. See, when I say love affair, I'm talking about loving a person and you fuck with them that much,
Yeah.
right?
Got you.
Okay, Power, Tommy and Ghost.
Absolutely.
When Ghost, look at me, quote unquote, supposedly died, who was holding him?
Yeah.
That's who he's going. That I'm telling you, in my opinion, he's showing up on force first.
I see it.
I'm telling you, we all just go right. We go right to Power Book 2 Ghost.
Yeah,
that's just my theory. I could be wrong.
Nah, but see, here's the thing. All right, so let's just put this in the mix before we start to get to our questions and stuff. When you start to see the reemergence of people, you know that there's a direction that is purposely being written.
Yep.
To guide other things into place, right? You can't just bring the plane down. It's like a plane has to descend first. You know what I mean? You got to start bringing certain things in to start making it make sense why other things would occur, right?
Right.
So when 2-Bit just shows up, literally, just where was 2-Bit all of this time?
Yeah.
Right? He just shows up.
He showed up because of the letter.
Right, but I understand that, right? But what I'm saying is, even Angela's nephew, now he gets the thumb drive. Now, everybody's speculation that on this thumb drive is going to be that confession that Tariq admitted to killing his pop.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about that situation is even if you go after him, if Ghost is alive, that goes away. How you kill your dad if he's not dead?
Right.
So I'm just going to tie that into the mix as well, right?
Right.
So when you start to see these other pieces start to roll around like this,
right,
it's creating a landing place. And that's why I believe, like you said, bruh,
it's going to be on force.
It needs to be this, and it needs to be this for this to come together.
There it is.
Tasha's doing a drive-by now. Tasha is so elusive now. She knows how to elude the very people that she was in the witness protection program from.
Right.
She knows how to be that elusive at this point.
Right.
So this is why I'm saying I think that there is, and somebody else I was watching a bunch of videos, obviously on YouTube, there is a level of a crossover that's coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
it's coming, and I think that when that crossover comes,
right,
that's when you're gonna start to see things really develop.
Right, I'm telling you, in my opinion, I believe I see you there, sis. I see what you say. You think he would show up on Power Book and then he would be on Force.
I'm inclined to that's gonna be funny.
I think he's going to show up on Force because we're going to come away from the show once again. So, Ghost said, well, Omari Hardwick said in the interview, it had to be this or this and this, right? He also said he don't think he should have died that way. It should have ended that way with him dying. It should have been him going in to save Tommy. Because they always have that person in that story, in that life, who stays in that life and makes it. And that's who Tommy is. But he gets in trouble where... So, if he's telling you what he thought it should have been, and he's telling you it needs to be this, as a writer, I'm going to just say, let me write him in the Force. Because he told us what he wants. He's telling people in the interview exactly what he wants.
Yeah, I think it's easier there. I think it's easier there too. And then I think, like you said, Tommy, to make the statement about Rick, you got to be all in or all out.
Right.
Can't be in between. That's what got your dad killed.
Right.
So I got to reinforce that because of the fact that Tommy still wants to Rick to really believe that your father is not here anymore.
Right.
When in all actuality, if he needs to show up, he is Ghost. You know what I'm saying? So
here's the thing too.
That's why I say that. You know what I mean?
If a nigga pulled the trigger on me, you think that he see me walking down the street, he gonna welcome me with open arms?
Right.
Nah.
Right.
It's got to be somebody that I'm saving in the beginning. When I'm saving them, they appreciating that.
Yeah, and that's why the band getting back together.
Right.
That's why the band Creating Peace. And I mean, I wish we
Right.
times we can go and just ride around and smoke a blunt together
This
and
is,
all that.
bro. You
Just
see
all
what I'm
that coming
saying?
together. No,
That's what
I
I'm
believe
saying.
it. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why them.
That's what
That's
I'm
why
saying.
those videos being leaked so heavy
Yeah.
about Ghost making statements about for me to come back. All that stuff is strategically happening at the right time too,
Right.
so that when it does happen, it'd be like, oh, they was leaking. He
Everybody
was
keeps
coming back.
forgetting. Everybody keeps forgetting exactly who the executive producer of that show is. The number one person who know how to breed drama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He did. He did. I know he glad his contract expired with them last September. So 50 man, a free agent now, man.
Oh
He
yeah.
looking for the next. Oh yeah, that he was. You ain't see the thing. He was glad to be from underneath that. He said he
Yeah.
won't do. He's not gonna do anything else with him. I don't know why. I just think that 50 being it is what it is on it. But he's glad to be from underneath it. I thought it was a
Right.
great partnership. But hey, man, he's a free agent.
Well,
We're
he
gonna do.
just opened. He just got the money to start G Unit Studios and all that. Remember we talked about that about 2 months ago.
Oh yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
just think that first and foremost, 50 knows his value.
Right.
And yeah, you use one situation that opens up the opportunity for something else, and then the next thing you know, your value increases, and now you kind of own the market. The market don't dictate where you go, so that's where it's at with it. So I mean, he could. I'm not saying he got that kind of situation, but look at Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry got Tyler Perry Studios.
So he's still with
And everything.
Power. He just not with Stars. You saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
His
yeah,
thing is
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
yeah,
not talking
his
about the
thing
network.
is
I'm
that
just talking. Yeah,
number.
I'm talking about the whole executive producer thing of him of breeding thoughts in your head. You know what I mean? That's
That's why I
always
say what I'm saying.
yeah.
Like that's why I said by him, if he does anything, look at Tyler Perry. Like I said, certain things. If you look at certain things, like 50 could move around a lot different now that he built that situation the way that he was built. Who he built it with. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see. But you know how it is. We're gonna do some would you rather's, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just letting you know we're gonna do
Yeah,
some would you rather's.
yeah. We got to. Yeah, we was going in. All right. I just realized what time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Would You Rather. Would you rather me just get right to it? So let's just go ahead and get to it. There we go, P.
Welcome to another episode of Would You Rather, where I ask E a series of questions and we get an answer for him. And if it's good enough and the question is intriguing enough,
Yes.
sometimes I offer my own explanation. Would you rather learn a new exercise program or a new healthy eating plan?
Healthy eating plan.
Okay. So I agree with that. I think when you learn how to make better choices with what you eat, it will develop into better choices of what you do most other things.
Right. I think the reason why I'm going with eating too is because a lot of times people get into working out and exercising because they're trying to lose weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just the better fuel you put in your body, the easier it is to maintain where you at. Lose too, but once you get to your goal, you can maintain it better because you're not having to put in all that extra because you ate something that was out of your diet that you know didn't agree with you, but you just love the taste so much. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And the other side of that too, bruh, is that when you work out, man, there's certain exercises that impact certain parts of your body.
Right.
So people think that you can just do any kind of form of exercise and it's hitting those areas. If you got a problem with a certain part of your body, you need to learn the
Right.
anatomy of how to make those things better.
Yeah.
But until you can actually get that education of it, they
Yep.
say you are what you eat. Stop
Yeah.
eating some of those things and you
And
won't
it
be some
helped.
of those things.
Like what I just learned, so you can go to the next one. What I just learned, sit ups, crunches, and all that, they don't burn fat at all. They just build the muscle underneath the fat. For you to get rid of belly fat, you have to eat correctly and a lot of cardio workouts and strength train because building muscle will help burn fat. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Oh,
You know.
absolutely. Yeah. So it's really a combination of them.
Right.
But if I had to start with one, I'll probably start with, like you said, the diet first, and then develop the next technique as far as the exercise piece of it.
Right.
Okay, would you rather work on developing your self confidence or your self reflection? I like how you reflect on yourself. Because some people, you know how that go. Self confidence or self reflection. Let's just do that. You know what it is.
I'm gonna say reflection because I'm already very confident, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
any of these questions I answer. I got to answer as me. I don't know how to answer as Mister Bernard to live around the corner and shit. I just can answer as me. So
If I need Bernard, I call him anyway. I
yeah,
just really
I
want to
mean,
answer.
yeah. So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
uh, what I was saying is the self reflection because we also are our worst critics a lot of time.
absolutely.
So when you reflect on yourself, don't be as hard on yourself. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
find ways to show that you're showing progress. Like a runner, he times himself. And
Mm-hmm.
if his time is getting better and better, he can reflect and say, I'm doing better. I'm growing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you.
yeah.
I agree with you. Would you rather learn a new form of meditation or a new breathing technique? And I guess you were using these just, just regularly. Just regularly.
Um
It ain't attached to any particular stress situation or nothing. Just,
it might be different to some people, but most likely with me it probably would be a breathing technique. If I can find different ways to breathe to help me give me better oxygen, I would probably go back into running again. You know what I mean? I
mhm.
feel like exercising, I mean jogging is one of the biggest exercises that really not not burn weight or you're not even about that, but mentally it just keeps you in a place because you're focused on being great at it. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I and that'll also go with strength training if you're a person that's big in lifting. Your breathing
Mhm.
techniques, understanding how to breathe. So I think that's what I would do. You know, breathing technique.
Gotcha. Nah, I don't. I for me, I need to think about it from the perspective of from a preliminary perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I need to do it whichever one it is. I'm going to say the breathing thing as well,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously when you can control your breathing, you can control your thinking.
Yep.
I think the meditation piece for me is something that's kind of a pre thing, right? So if I meditate before I'm in a situation where it can cause me some potential, stress or hardship or any of those things, it's good for some degree. But if I can learn a technique that allows me to do it before, pre and post, then I think it's even better. So I'm gonna go with the breathing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. I want to make sure. All right, here, that's the one I want right there. Would you rather focus on developing your assertiveness or on developing your leadership skills?
Um, leadership skills. And I think good leaders get people to follow. You can't lead nobody if they're not following you. Now, the difference between me, I'm more of a leader like you would look at like a Dame Dash. Like I'm just trying to lead you to your greatness so you can be your own boss. Not a leader for you to ever forever follow me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Absolutely.
So, it's like when you look at the college basketball, let's use college football and college sports period for an example. When these schools start showing that they got these great coaches and great people that's getting them to the next level and making them better men. Because I once heard Dean Smith say his only job was to make these guys better men, not NBA stars,
Hmm.
just better men.
Hmm.
And it's people wanted to go to North Carolina to play for Dean Smith, just like Jackson State. People wanted to go to Jackson State to play for Coach Prime because he was a great leader. So
Right.
I look at it like that, leadership.
So my response to that, I don't know if you heard in the post game last night. It might even been halftime, but I'm pretty sure it's the post game for TNT. Charles Barkley and Shaq, their perspective on coaches. Shaq feels as though coaches are just there. They're just figureheads. They really don't have a significant role in what takes place with a professional basketball team. They're there because they need them
Wow,
there.
that's shocking.
Um, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing some of the things that he said. I'm not quoting him verbatim, but that was his feeling about the situation. You know what I mean? He said it was his job as a leader of a team to get himself together, to go out and show the guys what he needed to do. So acting in the capacity of a leader to inspire them to do the things that they needed to do to contribute to the situation as well. Right?
Hmm.
That was his perspective on the situation. Where Chuck made a good point. He said, well, where we disagree, he said, coaches are there to coach the guys who aren't the superstars. They're there to coach the other guys and let them know that they have a role. And the guys who are superstars to understand that even though you're a star, you're going to need support. Because as good as you are, you're not going to beat 5 of them by yourself. So the objective for a coach is to inspire those who need that leadership quality pushed out there and be
Right.
able to be that outside voice in that situation that's not on the floor with them. So the difference in that situation is that he believes unquestionably coaches are necessary. I agree with Chuck in his analogy, I mean in his explanation of it. But just to add to that situation as well, he said Shaq is going to be a different thought for you when you are who you are.
Right.
You are who you are, so you're
But
going to look at it different anyway.
but I'm surprised because if I'm not mistaken, I think that first tour with the Lakers, Shaq went to Phil Jackson's house to get him to be the coach.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
But
That's
the
why
way
it's
but the way Shaq explained it, it wasn't for him.
right. Yeah,
You
the
know what
way
I'm
he
saying?
explained, that's what I'm saying. But he
Yeah,
did. So
yeah,
I guess he took his role as a leader
yeah.
to pull that in. But I think they're important. I think coaches. I mean, you know, it's certain coaches that's gonna always be bigger. Like Phil, Pop. You know what I mean?
hmm
You know, them two gonna always stand out.
Absolutely,
You know.
absolutely. But I think it was just a great point made on Chuck, and the only reason I
Yeah,
bring
that
that
was a
up is
good.
like
That's
I
a
said,
good. That's a
because
good
the
thing.
concept dealing with leadership and assertiveness. They asked the question to the Boston Celtics head coach, would he have done something different? Should they shot less threes? He said no. Just left it one word answers and all of that. With Eric Spoelstra, Spo has been a great coach for so long.
He's
And then
yo.
you want to know. And then you want to
Yeah.
know. And that's why Chuck said what he said. Chuck said Caleb Martin could have easily won the MVP last night of of the final. I mean of
Yeah.
the conference finals game last night. Easily.
Yeah.
Jimmy won it, but he could have easily done it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Vincent, Gabe Vincent that's shooting threes. Duncan Robinson shooting and playing at a high level, running around like these guys is all stars.
Right.
Where you got the other guys who, they move
In the
towards
Eastern Conference, it's the Larry Bird Trophy, right?
it's the Larry Bird Trophy.
Okay, and in the West, it's the Magic Johnson.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that's that on that one.
It's the
Um,
Larry Bird. Yeah.
so I'm trying to give you one more, bruh, because I know I'm
What?
looking
Yeah,
at,
let's give
what
us
the
one
time
more.
is and how we moving.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm always trying to find something that, has some substance to it, man.
Oh, you
What
just
was
had it. A bunch of them had some substance. I need a little donkey stupid one, man. That's what I need. Something you pull out your pocket, man. And you had a lot of substance.
okay.
I ain't get the joke on nothing. I ain't get no baby turtle or
Got one for you right here.
there it
You know what I'm
is. There we
saying?
go. There we
You know
go.
what I'm saying? All right, what you want? You want to would you rather hold a baby bird or a baby hedgehog? You know what I'm saying? A little Sonic. You want a little Tweety, a little Sonic in your life?
I want to hold the hedgehog just to see if I can run as fast as him.
You
You know
will.
what I mean?
You will. You get
You
to
would.
moving around on your hand crazy. Yeah, you'll start running just fast as him. Yeah, take it out of here.
Yeah, man, get us out of here, man. That was another episode of Would You Rather right here on the Porch Podcast. Let's get back to it, man.
Hey, man, we almost forgot to say this before we get out of here, man. Just wanted to recognize, man, one of the queens, man, of the R&B situation, man, and Miss Tina Turner, man, who passed
Yeah.
recently. You know what I mean?
She did a concert. Mine went.
That's what's up. That's what's
Mm-hmm.
up. I mean, excellent,
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
excellent songstress, and just wanted to take the time to acknowledge her life when she passed, and the music world loses another great legend. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Right.
Also, like me and E say each and every week, I want to take the time to thank you guys for tuning in, to this live. As we say each and every week, you can always catch us on the replay on our YouTube channel at the Porch Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Usually around Thursday,
Right.
around Thursday.
Thursday.
And you can check that out. And E'll let you know exactly where you can catch it at on the audio side of things.
Audio side of things: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, and red circle. And also, I want to give a condolences to the White family. Coach Rob passed away. Found out today. Real good brother. You know what I mean? Rob White. Everybody. Some of your kids, some of the people kids, and he might have coached them in baseball. He might have coached them with the Little Tornadoes. All these different teams around here. Christian man, good man, served at his church real well. I'm not sure of his home church, but that was shocking for a lot of us today. So, may he rest in peace. And thank you for all your service and everything you did, sir. You know what I mean? But now, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to episode 126. That's the wrong button, bitch.
Take the batteries out of that one, man.
The Porch Podcast, man. We love y'all, man. Thank y'all, man. We see y'all next week, man.
We see y'all next week, man. Peace, man.
Peace.